Welcome back. This is John Locke, and today I want to answer a question that I saw in an SEO forum. This question had to do with AI content writing. So, artificial intelligence that's spinning up content. A lot of people in the SEO world seem to think that there's a lot of potential for this, not having to hire human writers, but feeding information into a machine and then uh, extracting a article or a resource page out of this artificially created content. Robot writers, if you will. Now, the question that was in this forum specifically was, how will Google deal with artificially created content, AI content, in the future? So the crux of the question is, how will Google know which article should rank at the top? Should it be this AI created content, or should it be something written by a human? And in the context, I think it's implied, it wasn't stated in the question, but the context basically is, how do you know who's an expert, or will Google be able to tell what is more useful, what is expertly written, and especially when it comes to websites that might fall under your money or your life, which would be things like in the health or medicine category, or anything that has to do with finance, anything that has to do with your well-being. So potentially a lot of things could fall underneath this. Okay, here's my thoughts on this. What some of the people have said in the comments is, the artificial intelligence software that creates content is not that advanced yet. You have to feed it tons of information, and even then, maybe it can answer a basic question. Now, for certain things, it might still be useful. So, for example, one of the people that was suggested in this thread, that people might set up a super PBN, a large private blog network of different sites that have content on them, and they interlink to one another, or they sell links or whatever. But they operate as normal sites, and it would basically facilitate building these at scale. So I guess that's one application that you could use it for. Would you use it on a so-called money site? Would you use it on your main site, the website that's your main source of revenue? I don't know that I would go as far as to trust that at this point, because there's a couple things that I saw in a demonstration the other day. So, for example, there are a lot of things with this AI-generated content that is problematic. So, for example, in the demonstration that I saw, they were trying to get it to write an article about Muslims, but it could not create content without mentioning terrorists or terrorism. So basically, it was using all types of content that was written before, and then it was interjecting this type of bias, this racism, or religious prejudice against people in this content that was being created. It literally could not create content about Muslims without interjecting terrorism in there. So that's kind of problematic, because the bias of existing content is interjected into this existing content. So for that reason alone, I don't think that you would ever want to use artificial content, at least not at this point, on your money site. Whether you're a doctor, a lawyer, car mechanic, home electrician, a financial advisor, any of these things, it could, give wrong information. I think how this artificial intelligence content writing works basically is, it looks at a whole bunch of existing content, and it does predictive text and creates sentences based on existing content. And it might be able to pass for some things that are not important. Like I said, it's spitting out words. It doesn't necessarily have meaning to a human being who's looking for real answers or real information. Okay, but let's say that this artificial intelligence at some point comes to a level where it's indistinguishable from a human writer. The best human copywriter and this AI is literally indistinguishable. Is it still going to be problematic for Google to determine what to rank? Well, Google does have some of the smartest people in the world, and a lot of people who are pioneering in artificial intelligence and predictive text and all these things are all working at Google. So, Google and Bing, they're very well aware of this situation. So I would imagine that they are, as we speak, developing safeguards for this in the future. I don't think that you want to have a bunch of robot articles ranking at the top of Google search results, 5 or 10 years from now. I don't think that that's going to be good for their business to have results like that. So I would imagine that they're working on it. But, even in the present day, there are other signals that Google uses besides just the words on the page. Now, the content on the page is very important. It is still the most important factor, but there are other things that are used as ranking signals. For example, Google does use user signals. And as we've said many times, we believe that they're using the Chrome browser, which does have the largest market share on mobile and on desktop. So it's owned by Google. So it's very plausible that they could be using those real user signals as a way to determine what to rank higher based on how people interact with that content. Now, the other thing that's an obvious signal is links. What sites will link to a piece of content? Now, imagine, if you would, that there's a website coming up and they're 100% robot content, and people within the industry that are webmasters on other sites get a hold of that. Are they going to link to that site with 100% robot articles? Probably not. It's probably still going to, the webmasters of the world are probably still going to want to link to experts that they know and that they trust, and people and websites that they know and that they can have confidence in recommending that content. So those links are probably still going to be from human curated websites. The other thing with links too is it's not just about getting a bunch of random websites, whether or not they have so-called domain authority, which can be manipulated by linking schemes and private blog networks and other things like that. But you have a list of seed sites that we've talked about this before too. But Google has a list of seed sites. Bing does too, I'm sure, because they copy everything Google does, just slower. But it's a list of sites that have been around for a long time, big brands, maybe news publications, or trusted and respected sites that have a high degree of information accuracy that have stood the test of time. These have been around for a long time, and the proximity of your site, as far as how many links away is it from these sites, whether these sites link directly to your site or they link to other sites which then link to yours. These are factors of trust that are in the link profile of every site, so these would be taken into account too. I don't think links will ever go away as a ranking signal. So these are all things to consider when you're talking about AI generated content or robot articles or anything like that. It's just not there yet. Yes, the next generation of this type of content has gotten better, but it's not ready to be indistinguishable from a human. And again, there is some bias and there are some flaws and mistakes that are in this. If you're just using it for a throwaway site or like an affiliate site, I think that's where a lot of the concern was that I saw, was people were worried about it as far as for affiliate content. Maybe that will be diminished at some point. But when it comes to sites that are your money or your life, or anything that has to do with your health, well-being, finances, or anything that could affect your long-term well-being, I don't see original, well-researched content and stuff that has original research or you know, just expertise that's gained from decades of experience in a field. I don't see that going away, and I think people should use that, leverage it, speak in your own voice. People are still going to follow certain authors and certain sites that they trust, and I think even at the level where robot content becomes better at what it does, I still think people will be able to distinguish a human writer from AI content. So those are my thoughts. My name is John Locke. My business is Lockdown Design and SEO. I'm here about every other day making videos on SEO. And if you have a question, leave it in the comments below. I'd be happy to answer. And we're on our way to 1,000 subscribers, so I'd love it if you would subscribe. We've been continually publishing for several years now, so would love to see you as a subscriber. That's all I have for now, and until next time, peace.